Well, 2 years ago, author Helen Brown joined us on the Circle Couch to discuss her heart-wrenching book, Cleo, the story of a kitten who helped her move past the pain of losing her son. Now, Helen has written another book and she joins us to tell us what happened since she was here last. Welcome back, Helen. Thank you. So 2 years ago, we met you on the couch. You were talking about Cleo, this incredible cat that came into your lives, and you wrote the story about losing your beautiful son, Sam. What happened with the book in terms of the success since we've seen you last?
Well, it was the most extraordinary business. I mean, my whole life has really changed since I was last here. The book went to London Book Fair and it became a huge bidding war and sold for 5 times the price that anybody expected.
Wow.
And now 500,000 copies have sold around the world. It's in, I think, 17 languages now.
Wow.
And is it true there's talk of a movie?
Yes, the South Pacific Pictures, who made The Whale Rider, are well into development for the movie. So
now, the story really encapsulates the power and the healing ability of animals, in particular cats, doesn't it? Cleo being your cat. Now, I remember you saying, you know, you couldn't even think about getting another cat after Cleo because she was so incredible, but alas, your second book is based on that second cat coming into your life called Jonah. Tell us about how Jonah came into your life.
Well, I have a theory that cats come into your life when you need them. You know, you don't necessarily think you want one, but they turn up. And halfway through writing Cleo, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and it was a bit of a shock. And my sister came across from New Zealand to help look after me, and one day she went for a walk and she came back and said to me, "The only reason I'm going to tell you this is that you swore you'd never get another cat, but I've just walked past the pet shop and there's this incredibly cute Siamese cat." And so before I knew it, we were bundled off in the car and I could hardly walk, and there was this kitten in this cage with other kittens. He was this mega star. He was jumping on top of all the others, using them for a trampoline, climbing up the wire, and he climbed right up and he fixed me with these huge blue eyes.
Oh, beautiful. Helen, do you think you choose the cat or the cat chooses
No,
you?
because he put his paw out and touched me. And I thought, oh, I think he's a little bit mad. But
And he is quite mad, isn't he?
he's insane.
In what way is he mad?
Well, he's sort of hypersensitive. He thinks he's the size of a bulldog. He thinks he can take on anything, especially large dogs. He wants to roam the world, but we live in inner city Melbourne, so he has to be an indoor cat. He also likes to dress up in tulle and sequins. I think
How do you find that out?
because, well, when my... Yes, anything to do with tutus or...
He's a showgirl.
He went to Cat Mardi Gras.
Yeah, he was definitely a drag queen in a previous life.
Now, and the story that I find fascinating is that while you were going through your big success with your first book and the promotion of that, you were also quietly going through breast cancer and the cat came in to sort of help you out. Can you tell us more about what that was like to have the highs and the lows simultaneously?
Very strange. And in a strange way, getting incredibly good news, like your book has become an international bestseller, and then you've got quite a large growth in your right breast. It's a similar instant reaction. It's sort of disbelief. You think, oh my goodness, how do I cope with this? And actually, you know, you feel like that in both occasions.
Helen, with the cat coming into your life, and then you had this, this terrible battle with breast cancer. Also interesting in the book, it's also about relationships, isn't it, with, your daughter and your mum. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I have this theory: if you're a strong woman, you have strong daughters.
Ah,
and I
yep.
believe you've just given birth to a daughter.
Yes, I have.
Yes, so watch out.
I know, I'm nervous now.
I think you find your own strength reflected back at you. And I sort of thought all the mistakes I've made in my life were due to probably not good enough education and poor self-esteem. So I thought with my own daughters, I was going to raise them to have very high self-esteem, feminist, and the best education I could afford, so that they would grow up to be professional women capable of making all their decisions. And around the time that I was diagnosed with breast cancer, my wonderful daughter Lydia announced that she was going to live in Sri Lanka, war-torn at the time, to become a Buddhist nun. And it was about the only area of life that I hadn't sort of sorted out.
Why did you find that confronting?
Well, because of this, she was so bright and she'd won a scholarship to university. I found out more and more, not only, you know, that she would be in danger of terrorist attacks. Every time I'd go and check the, you know, the warnings, the travel warnings, they were shocking at the time. But also I learned more about the life of a Buddhist nun in Sri Lanka. A lot of it was spent sweeping steps or cooking or kowtowing to 9-year-old male monks just because they're male.
But was this you still focusing on what you valued?
That's exactly.
Rather than saying, hang on, there's a mirror being held up here.
And I was just as outrageous to my own mother because I ran off to England and got married at 18.
So was that her sort of, you said you neglected one area, was that spirituality, you think?
Well, no, I encouraged my children to be very open to the spiritual world. We didn't have a religion, but I always, you know, and I was a bit new agey, and we used to go and, you know, if someone was doing dolphin calling or something, I'd drag the kids along, but I didn't realise quite the impact that it might have on the kids.
So what was I mean, honestly, sometimes when that behaviour is so confronting, it is a mirror to look at ourselves.
Yes.
So what did you learn from that relationship with your daughter that you took away?
Well, I learned that I was actually being quite hypocritical, and I became really quite outrageous, and we had some real barneys, and I did everything, you know, I wanted to put my foot down and make her stay in Australia and do all these outlandish things. And in the end, I mean, it's a little bit like our mad cat. In the end, you actually have to accept that these beautiful, powerful creatures are independent, and you have to give them a little bit of slack.
Yeah.
It's the whole surrender, isn't it?
Yeah, you have to trust them, ultimately.
It's a beautiful story. Would you please thank Helen Brown once again for sharing her inspirational story with us? We like you. Come again. You're fun. Hey, and you are the luckiest studio audience because you're all getting a copy of Helen's new book to take home. We've got lots more to come this Monday morning right after a quick offer from The Circle and Nikki.
Hi guys.